Hi, it's time for one of my most favorite times of the year, favorite times of the month, favorite times of just things to do. I get to make a TBR, and I just have this crazy obsession with making lists of things to do, and that sense of accomplishment I feel whenever I actually get through it, unparalleled, truly unmatched. But today we're going to be doing my TBR for the rfantasy 2025 bingo. This technically came out on April 1st, and I'm just getting around to finalizing this TBR right now. Mainly just I've been busy. Also, sorry, the lighting is weird. We just have this is the only time of night I can usually film, and yeah, we get some weird shadows from the sun going down because that's what happens. So if you don't know about the rfantasy bingo, it's basically just the Reddit fantasy subforum, and every year they come out with a bingo challenge, which is basically just 25 prompts of different, just 25 prompts for fantasy, sci-fi, or I'd say magical horror, if that makes sense, type of books that you can kind of base your reading on for the year. The prompts themselves usually aren't that difficult, but there is an optional method or a hard mode, which I am really I try to aim to do every year. This year I'm going to really try to do it. There is an optional hard mode, which basically just makes the prompts more restrictive, and it's something that I aim to do every year. I never really end up doing it, so we're going to try again this year to do hard mode. I find doing the bingo itself relatively easy just through my reading throughout the year. I read a ton of fantasy, sci-fi, and romantasy, so it really isn't that difficult for me to find something that fits within these, but why not? There are a few rules, which I will be very honest, I always mess these up, and I look at them at the beginning of the year and then never think of them again. And then in the past I've 100% messed up the year just because of that, because there's one that so you can't use the same book in more than one card, so it's one square, one book. One that I always messed up is that you're not supposed to repeat authors, and there's one exception, which is you may reuse an author from the short story square as long as you're not just using a short story collection from just one author. And because something about that always in my mind, I just go, okay, you can reread a book, or you're allowed to use an author more than once. You're not. And only one square can be a reread. All of the other books must be first time reads. You're also able to substitute one square from this card with a square from a previous year. Yeah, I haven't really thought about if I'm going to be doing that. We'll go through, because I do have a TBR, but I will be honest and say there's a few that I haven't come up with ideas yet. There's some that I might need some advice for books that could be good options to read in these. And also, if you guys are interested, I also can do a recommendation video where I'm doing 3 to 5 books that would hit each one of these prompts. So let me know if you're interested in that, because I could very easily pull that together. So with all of that being said, let's just actually dive into this TBR and some of my loose reading plans for this, because 100% these are going to change, but I like having an idea of what I'm going for. So first prompt is Knights and Paladins. One of the protagonists is a paladin or knight, and the hard mode is the character has an oath or promise to keep. I'm going to be reading one of the Paladin series books by T. Kingfisher. I believe I've read the first one. I can't remember if I've read the second. So I'm pretty, very certain that at least one of these books will kind of work within that. All of them follow paladins who they had made an oath to their god, and this god has died. So, that ticks off hard mode immediately. Honestly, I just haven't looked in to see which one I haven't read yet. Number 2, Hidden Gem. It's a book with under 1,000 ratings on Goodreads. New releases and arcs from popular authors do not count. Hard mode is published more than 5 years ago. So this is one that I do need help with. I think I can 100% find books with under 1,000 ratings. I do tend to read those fairly regularly, because especially I love reading indie fantasy. One that is published less than 5 years ago, or more than 5 years ago, sorry. One that's published more than 5 years ago. That I've been having a little bit of difficulty finding. I think my plan is to go look through SPFBO and see if there's any within there that catch my interest that have under 1,000 reviews. I think that's going to be the way that I go, but if you have any recommendations, please let me know. Number 3, published in the 80s. So it has to be a book that was published between 1980 and 1989. Hard mode, written by an author of color. This one, actually, not that bad. I'm going to be reading Wild Seed by Octavia E. Butler, which, if you know, she's one of my all-time favorite sci-fi authors, and I have to say, I've been very slowly going through her stuff. I am going ridiculously slow, because she only has a very limited number of books that were published while she was alive, and I don't want to run out of them too quickly. So I'm reading maybe 1 or 2 a year, and I am having a great time with it. But this one was published in 1980, so it works fantastic. And we're following Doro. She is an entity who can change bodies like clothes, killing his host by reflex or design. He fears no one until he meets Anyawu. Anyawu is a shapeshifter who can absorb bullets and heal with a kiss and savage anyone who threatens her. She fears no one until she meets Doro. Together they weave a pattern of destiny from Africa to the New World, unimaginable to mortals. Can't wait. I think this is more of like a speculative fiction / fantasy. Ridiculously excited. I think that like I've loved every book that I've read from her. Most of them have gotten 5 stars. Number 4, high fashion. Read a book where clothing and or fiber arts are employed into the plot. Hard mode and the main character makes clothes or fibers. This one, so I have one, which is A Mask of Mirrors. This is actually, but I don't know if this necessarily hits the hard mode. So what happens in A Mask of Mirrors? I have a copy of this too. So in this one, we're following a con artist. She comes to the city with the goal to trick her way into a noble house, securing her fortune and her sister's future. But she's drawn into the elite world of House Trementus. She realizes her masquerade is just one of many surrounding her. And as nightmare magic begins to weave its way through the city of dreams, the poisonous feuds of its aristocrats and the shadowy dangers of the impoverished underbelly become tangled with Reneth Heart. Really excited. Really excited. I just don't know if this one necessarily hits the hard mode, so we're gonna read it and see if it does. If not, we will find another option. Prop number 5, Down with the System, a book in which the main plot revolves around disrupting the system. Hard mode, not a governmental system. I'm gonna go with Flame and Shadows by S.M. Gaither, which I do believe is people taking down gods. Read one book by them and didn't enjoy it, but let's try another one. Number 6, Impossible Places. Read a book set in a location that would break a physicist. The geometry, non-Euclidean. The volume, bigger on the inside. The direction, merely a suggestion. And hard mode is at least 50% of the book takes place under the impossible place, or within the impossible place. This one, I've already read something that fits right, and that is Dungeon Crawler Carl book. So I just recently finished book 4, which was Gate of the Pharaoh Gods. Takes place all in this crazy dungeon, and this book in particular takes place within like bubbles of worlds, like bubbles that encompass like 4 different lands. So yeah, like literally any of the Dungeon Crawler Carl books would work for this and for the hard mode, because they are entirely based in dungeons. So like dungeons that take place under the earth. So that one is done. Number 7, A Book in Part. Read a book that has been separated into large sections within the main text. Hard mode, the book has 4 or more parts. I put down Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. Is that what her name is? Enchantra. Kaylee Smith, yeah. So this one I know was broken down into parts, and unless I am very much remembering it incorrectly, it had more than 4 parts. So I have completed that one. Number 8, Gods and Pantheons. Read a book featuring divine beings. Hard modes, there are multiple pantheons involved. I haven't set anything in particular in this one, not because I can't find one, but because there's so many. So this is going to be one, like as soon as I read something that fits this, I'll just check it off. But I know that will be an easy one for me to decide on. Number 9, Last in a Series. Read the final entry in a series. Hard mode, the series is 4 or more books long. I'm going to set myself the last book in the Expanse series by James S. A. Corey. I'm on book, I think 8 of 9 right now, so I should be able to get there relatively quickly. And that's just like an epic space battle type of series, which I love. Number 10, book club or read along book. Read a book that was or is officially a group read on rfantasy. And hard mode, read and participate in an rfantasy book club or read along during the bingo year. So I'll see as the year goes on if I do have a chance to participate in the book club or read along, but if not, at one point they did a read along of Malazan series, and I recently read Dead House Gates, which is book 2 in Malazan, so that fits. Yeah, but they have a ton of series that they've done, so if I ever want to make another choice, or I'll probably just keep an eye on it too to see what ones have been chosen throughout the year, so that way like maybe I can actually complete the hard mode. Number 11, our protagonist. Read a book where the main character has a child to care for. The child does not have to be biologically related to the character. Hard mode, the child is also a major character in the story. I'm gonna do Dream Snake by Vonda and McIntyre. Don't know a crazy amount about this one. It's science fiction, I believe. In a far future post-Holocaust Earth, a young healer named Snake travels the world healing the sick and injured with her companion, the alien Dream Snake, but she's being pursued. Don't know a crazy amount about it, but I'm interested. Number 12, Apostolary. So book prominently features any of the following: diary or journal entries, letters, messages, newspaper clippings, transcript. Hard mode, the book is told entirely in epistolary format. And this one I have The Witch's Diary, so written entirely in diary entries. Author of color. Read a book written by an author of color. Hard mode, read a horror novel by an author of color. And this one I'll be doing The Reformatory. Is that what it's? Reformatory. So that is a thriller that's horror. I feel, yeah, what is this about? It's set in Jim Crow, Florida, and follows Robert Stephen Jr. as he's sent to segregated reform school that is a chamber of terrors where he sees the horrors of racism and injustice for the living and the dead. I heard really good things about this one, but very hard read. I did miss Number, which was published in 2025, and the hard mode is to be a debut author. And this one, I'm gonna go with Angie Kills a King, which is just an unlikely assassin struggles to escape from a legendary bounty hunter. Done. Small press or self-published. Read a book published by a small press, so basically just something that's not one of the big five, or self-published. If a formerly self-published book has been picked up by a publisher, it only counts if you read it before it's picked up. And hard mode, the book has under 100 ratings on Goodreads or written by a marginalized author. So there's one that I did find from the SPFBO list of previous entries, and this one, Murder at Spindle Manor by Morgan Stang. I do believe that in the discussions it came up with that authors written by women can be considered marginalized authors in this situation. So this one, there's mysteries abound in Spindle Manor. For Huntress Isabeau, the countryside inn is the last stop in a deadly hunt. Armed with a gas lamp and guns, she tracks an insidious beast that wears the skin of its victims, mimicking them perfectly. 10 guests reside within Spindle Manor tonight, and the creature could be any one of them. Confined by a torrential thunderstorm and running out of time, Isabeau has until morning to discover the liar, or none of them, including her, will make it out. I like the sound of that. Okay, we are now on to the fourth row. So biopunk, read a book that focuses on biotechnology and or its consequences. Hard mode, there is no electricity-based technology. I'm gonna be going with The Drop of Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett. That 100% fits biopunk, and unless I'm mistaken, there's no other technology, like no electricity within this world. Number 17, Elves or Dwarfs. Read a book that features the classical fantasy archetype of elves and or dwarves. They do not have to fit the classic tropes, but they must either be named as elves and or dwarves and be easily identified as such. In hard mode, the main character is an elf or a dwarf. I think that this one will be incredibly easy to find, even in like fantasy romance. I'm sure there's some, but one that I'm going to put as a potential is The Bone Heart by Victoria Goddard. This one is thrice cursed bard and warrior elf Tamsin wakes up in the Elfland after what might or might not have been his death. Healed and hale for the first time in millennia. Somewhat confused but not entirely unhappy with this turn of events, he sets off in the hopes of finding a new home. That's another one that doesn't have a crazy amount of ratings on Goodreads, so we'll see. Number 18, LGBTQIA protagonist. I'm always so bad at getting all the acronyms wrong. Hard mode, the character is marginalized on at least one additional axis, such as being a person of color, disabled, a member of an ethnic/religious/cultural minority in the story, etc. I'm gonna finally read The Spear Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez. This is one that I read The Vanished Bird by him a few years ago, one of my all-time favorite sci-fi books, and I just keep putting this one off, even though I have a strong feeling I'm really gonna love it. But I'm gonna finally get myself to read that one. 5 SFF stories. Hard mode, read an entire SFF anthology or collection. I saw that Naomi Novik came out with one. It is called Buried Deep. Might as well. I'm sure I'll find others throughout the years. I do tend to read. I love a really good sci-fi short story collection, so maybe I will find a different one for that. Number 20, Stranger in a Strange Land. Read a book that deals with being a foreigner in a new culture. The character or characters, if there's a group, must be either visiting or moving in as a minority. Hard mode, the main character is an immigrant or refugee. So for this one, I have A Strange and Stubborn Endurance by Foz Meadows. Okay, so this one we have a main character. He is set to marry a girl from a neighboring kingdom. There's an ugly confrontation that reveals his preference for men, and when his family is ready to disown him, the envoy from the different kingdom has different plans, and they set up for him to marry his intended brother instead. Okay, I don't know, could be interesting. Now we're on to the final line. So 21, Recycle a Bingo Square. And this one, what was I gonna do? From 2019, they had one that was vampires as a main protagonist. I think that's where I might go. I'm also gonna keep this one very open for, I might find a different square that I want to use, because there's quite a few throughout the years. So tentatively, vampire as a main protagonist. I don't necessarily know where I'm gonna go for that one, but I love a vampire romance more than anything in the world. So, I don't think I'll struggle too hard to find one. And also leave me any vampire romance recommendations if you have them. Number 22, Cozy FF. cozy SFF. So the genre typically features relatable characters, low stakes, minimal conflict, and a happy ending. Hard mode, the author is new to you. This one, The Teller of Small Fortunes. This one seems pretty cute. It's somebody who has a gift to be able to tell fortunes, and she's realized how much they can affect people, so she only now gives out small fortunes instead of like bigger ones that she thinks could really impact a life. 23, generic title. Read a book that has one or more of the following words in the title: blood, bone, broken, court, dark, shadow, song, sword, or throne. Hard mode. The title contains more than one of the listed words or contains at least one word in a color or animal. Color, animal, or number. Okay, we are doing Shadow of a Dark Queen by Raymond Feist. I've been very slowly making my way through his Rift War saga and all of the books that take place within like all of this huge encompassing series that is like, really, it's an encompassing world that has many different series. So this one is within my reading list and I will eventually get to it. I'm gonna kind of use this as a motivator to myself to like really get there soon, because I think I have like 15 books left to read in it. There's a lot, but this is on that list. And the Rift World saga, it's very much like there's one planet that gains the ability to travel to different planets and uses it to go in and basically conquer nations and steal all their resources. Very fun. I really like what I've read so far in it. 24, not a book. This one's different. I kind of like that they did this. Do something new besides reading a book. Watch a TV show, play a game, learn how to summon a demon. Spend time with fantasy, science fiction, or horror in another format. Movies, video games, RPGs, board games, etc. all count. There's no rule about how many episodes of a show will count or whether or not you have to finish a video game. New is the key word here. We do not want you to play a new save on a game you have played before or to watch a new episode of a show you enjoy. You can do a whole new RPG or a new campaign in a system you've played before, but not a new session in a game you've been playing. And the hard mode is just to write a review and post it to rfantasy. So that one is incredibly broad. There's so many options. Like I could say that like I went to see Thunderbolts last weekend. Fantastic, by the way. That could technically count because it's kind of a fantasy sci-fi type series. I just bought a new board game that we played this weekend. That can count. So I'm going to keep this one very like, well, maybe when I'm doing my wrap up next year, we can discuss the new piece of media that I found most exciting through the last year, or if I really like let myself, if I tried any video games, if I tried anything like that, maybe we can discuss it then and kind of see like what things did I challenge myself to try this year, because I'd like to get into some different things that, you know, I don't play video games. Maybe this is the year to try. And the final book is Piracy, or Pirates. Read a book where characters engage in piracy, and the hard mode is not a seafaring pirate. This weirdly hard for me to think of. I have one, what is it called? It's called Trading in Danger by Elizabeth Moon. It was weirdly hard for me to think of something because like I know there's ones as space pirates. Nothing's coming to mind when I was trying to look at it. So we're following Kalara. She's the only daughter in a family full of sons, and her father's only child to buck tradition by choosing a military career instead of joining the family business. So I think she joins the military, gets expelled, and then joins I'm thinking this is a spaceship. I think it seems like it's a space opera. She joins a voyage that turns into pirates or something like that. They become pirates or start in pirates. Not 100% sure, but I am excited either way. So those are a little bit of my plans for our fantasy 2025. Really ridiculously excited. I have so much fun doing this every year, and it's just so much fun for me to try and come up with ideas and at the end of the year take a look back and see how I did. So let me know down below if you have any plans for reading this, if you have any recommendations, and if you're interested in me doing a recommendation video also. So thank you very much for watching today's video, and hopefully I will see you in one very soon.